the Browns might have just had a life preserver tossed out to them this morning because their quarterback for 2025 might be available. If you didn't see it, Kirk Cousins has been benched by the Atlanta Falcons for rookie Michael Penix, the 8th overall pick. And I think there is a chance that Cousins could be the Browns starting quarterback week 1, 2025. So let's unpack this entire scenario and possibility. First, some of the details I want you guys to know. Cousins signed a 4-year, $180 million contract with the Falcons back in March. Now, $90 million is straight up guaranteed. So Atlanta has committed $90 million for 14 games worth of work. Now, an additional $10 million becomes guaranteed if he is on their roster in March. But let's just stick with 90 because that's an important number and detail and fact to know. The Falcons also gave him a no-trade clause in his contract. So if Kirk Cousins gets released because he does not agree to get traded anywhere, and why would he agree to get traded anywhere? He's not going to do the Falcons a favor. They just benched him. They also completely blindsided him when they drafted Michael Penix after Cousins signed in Atlanta and said, I want to end my career here. Well, when you draft a quarterback 6 weeks later, that signals the team is already thinking about moving on from you. So I don't think Cousins is in any position to do a favor to the Falcons. So if he's not going to waive his no-trade clause, Atlanta is left with only one option. Release him, and preferably before that additional $10 million becomes guaranteed. So here's the plan, the Nathan For You segment of the show. Sign Kirk Cousins to a vet minimum contract once the Falcons release him. Now, why would Cousins agree to this? For one, probably doesn't have much of a market based on the way he has played the last couple of games. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Two, why wouldn't he sign to a vet minimum deal? Remember when Russell Wilson was signed to the Steelers on a vet minimum contract because the Broncos owed him all that money, and anything he signed with the new team would be subtracted from what Denver owed him? So, if I'm Kirk Cousins, I am sticking it to the Falcons after benching me and drafting my replacement shortly after signing me, and I'm signing for a vet minimum deal. And it wasn't just Russell Wilson, by the way. Remember Derek Carr a few years ago when his time with the Raiders was coming to an end? He wasn't going to waive his no-trade clause. He forced Las Vegas to release him so they would have to pay him on his new contract, and the difference would be made up by whatever the new team signed him to. So I could very well see Kirk Cousins getting released and signing with the team to a vet minimum contract. Here's the problem. He sucks. So I don't really know if this is actually all that great of a plan because, sure, you are getting good value. You're getting a starting caliber kind of quarterback-ish for $1.57, whatever it is, million dollars. And the Browns don't have much room to spend in free agency. They can't spend much more in the quarterback room. A lot of their money is, of course, tied up to number 4. So even if, Sam Darnold were to become available, he signed on a 1-year, $10 million contract with the Vikings. That number just went way up after this season. I don't think the Browns can swing for that. They're not going to turn back to Jameis Winston. They just benched him. So sure, it may be your only option, but it may not be a very good one because Cousins the last 5-6 weeks of the season, look at his numbers. 1-4, 1 touchdown, 9 interceptions. The guy completely fell off a cliff. I can't diagnose it. I don't have the X's and O's answers for you as to how this happened, but it happened. And I'm not sure if it's actually a good move for the Browns to sign him, but just going off the $1.5 million sticker price, if you don't want to trot Deshaun Watson back out there, and you do have to sign someone because he's not going to be available for you in OTAs and minicamp coming off an Achilles injury, Cousins might be your best option. Now, I'll say a hand up right now. I was wrong. We talked about this subject briefly a few weeks ago, and I said there's no way he moves on from Atlanta after one season. What I did not anticipate is Kirk Cousins completely falling off the face of the earth and his play just going dramatically downhill. But we are here today, so hand up. I definitely got that one wrong a month-ish or so ago whenever we talked about this the first time. But here are a couple of options. The Browns, the Titans, they just benched Will Levis. So if they don't feel like they're going to be close enough in the draft to find a viable starting quarterback, maybe they turn to the veteran because their GM, Rand Carthon, he is not making a lot of friends right now in Nashville. So he might feel pressure to go out and get a proven commodity and not put his future in some round 2, round 3 rookie, which that did not work out the last time with a round 2 rookie or young player. Colts, if they want to kind of just snip the cord with Anthony Richardson and go a different direction, possibly. Whoever does not get the first overall pick between the Raiders and Giants, if let's say both teams really want Shador, both teams really want Cam Ward, and the loser of that sweepstakes maybe settles on Cousins instead of the other rookie quarterback, just some possibilities right here. Now I'll turn it over to you, give you guys the mic for a second. Do you want Kirk Cousins in Cleveland? This is a hard to be mad about situation because when it only costs you 1.5, 1.7, whatever the vet minimum deal is, you can't really look at it as a gigantic failure if it doesn't go well. The only big con is if you go after Kirk Cousins and he continues to suck like he has the last 5 games, that was your free agency move. I don't know what other free agent quarterback, unless they have no other suitors, and if that's the case, that's probably not a good player to go after, would sign with the Browns, knowing they are walking into a quarterback room that has Deshaun Watson, so there's some level of ties right there between him and the front office to work out and start. Kirk Cousins himself, the other free agent, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and potentially a rookie. That's a very, very crowded quarterback room, and even that other free agent might feel like, I've got no chance of making this roster, so I'm not going to sign in Cleveland. So your one shot in free agency might be a big miss if, sure, you make some savings, you get Cousins on a bargain, but if he sucks and Watson continues to struggle, that leaves you with DTR and a rookie. All of a sudden, you're back to where you are right now, not having a good quarterback. And when we look at the other free agent quarterbacks, it's not a great list here. Like, I don't think they're going to go back with Jameis. Darnold is going to be out of their reach. Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Drew Lock. Are these guys improvements? Probably not. These are just lateral moves. And lateral right now is a 3-14 ball club. So it's unlikely that you find a dramatic improvement in free agency. And so maybe Cousins for that value and knowing his connections to Kevin Stefanski back when they were in Minnesota together, and the way the Browns like to run their offense and what Cousins does best, under center play action, it could be a perfect fit if you can get that weeks 1 through 9 version of Kirk Cousins. I'm afraid that guy is gone forever. Before we get on to the rest of today's episode, I do got to give a quick shout out to our friends over at Game Time. Game Time has an awesome feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. If you want to go see Tennessee, Ohio State on Saturday and come hang out with your boy here, or you want to go to a Browns game, a Cavs game, or any other sporting event in your area, download the Game Time app today and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Game Time is a huge supporter of us here at the Cleveland Browns Report. So if you are thinking about going to a game or any other event in your area, check out Game Time first and save yourself $20. I put all this information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Now, a quarterback that I just want to toss out there for shits and giggles. What about Jacoby Brissett? We went over some of those free agent options. Let's say the Browns land at the conclusion of, yeah, Cousins would be good value for what you're paying, but we don't think he's any good anymore, so why just spend $1.7 million just so we can feel good about ourselves for getting a good deal, even if we don't get a good quarterback out of it? Brissett worked out pretty well with the Browns in 2022. Beloved by this fan base. I would argue he's probably a top 5 quarterback for the Browns since 99. I mean, Baker in 2020, Jacoby in 2022. I guess we got to do Flacco in 2023. He's up there, that's for sure. So when it comes to options this upcoming offseason, the Browns are going to have to sign someone. Like, whether they believe in Watson or not, they do have to sign a new backup quarterback. Like, even if Deshaun Watson was healthy, if they're not going to roll it back with Jameis, which definitely seems unlikely at this point, just like how they signed Jameis and Tyler Huntley last year, 2 quarterbacks, they're definitely going to add someone. And I don't think Brissett is going to command a huge market, so he's not going to be out of your price range. And he might be your best option for holding down the fort until Watson is healthy if you ever want to go back to him, which is not a shoo-in or a guarantee at this point. And he's got some familiarity with Kevin Stefanski in this offense. I got to be honest, it's kind of bleak right now, but that might be one of your better options. Before we get on to the rest of today's video, we have some news to get to here. But what I need from everyone watching to do is go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on 40,000 subscribers, the big 4-0. It'd be an awesome Christmas gift if we can get there before 25th. So make sure to hit that sub button down below. Help us get to our goal. And in return, we'll give you free daily Browns content. Some news items I want to talk about. Nick Chubb officially placed on injured reserve. The Browns, with that extra roster spot, they added a tight end from the Jets, so whatever. I mean, I don't really care about the tight end signing, but for Chubb, it's a bummer, obviously, suffering a broken foot in the loss on Sunday against the Chiefs. I don't really know what his future holds. I don't really know what kind of market he'll have. He played in 8 games this year, and he averaged a little over 3 yards a carry, and he's coming off a major knee injury and now a broken foot, which the foot injury doesn't sound super-duper serious. Didn't sound like he would require surgery, but still, his season is done in Cleveland, and with it being a contract year, there's a possibility that Chiefs game was the last time we saw Nick Chubb. Maybe they bring it back on a very cheap veteran minimum contract because Chubb definitely sounds motivated to stay in Cleveland, but it's a business, and the Browns kind of did right by Chubb this past offseason, bringing him back and not moving on from him. I'm not sure if they're going to do that twice. Next piece of news I want to talk about is DTR. He is starting. We talked about this yesterday. Kevin Stefanski confirmed it today. The slight wrinkle to the story is he is considered week to week as a starter. Not injury, but he is not locked in to start for the last 3 games of the season. So Stefanski said they want to see how he practices this week with a full week of practice. He's going to start on Sunday in Cincinnati against the Bengals. And if it goes well, then he'll start the next 2 games probably. If it doesn't go well, I'm guessing they go back to Jameis. Or the moment Watson went down, the first thought I had, once Watson went down, they added Bailey Zappi. I was like, well, it would be the most Browns thing ever to get all 4 quarterbacks under center at some point. So I feel like the Bailey Zappi moment is probably in the future for us, just like how we watched what's-his-face start in Week 18 last year against the Bengals. I'm blanking on his name, but it'll come back. Jeff Driscoll? Was it Jeff Driscoll? I think it was Jeff Driscoll. All right, third piece of news I want to talk about here. Dustin Hopkins is back. He was a healthy scratch on Sunday. Riley Patterson kicked. He had 1 extra point. He went 1 for 1. And that 1-week benching, we'll call it, is over. So they're going to turn back to Hopkins for Sunday against the Bengals. It's been a brutal season for Hopkins. He is, statistically speaking, the worst kicker in football, 64% field goal percentage, the worst amongst all qualifying kickers. Guy missed one from under 30 yards. He's missed multiple kicks from every single spot, and it's just been a season of hell for Hopkins. And hopefully he can kind of end on a high note the last 3 games and give us something hopeful to look forward to. But the Browns gave him a contract extension back in July. It's not money that they are stuck to. Like, it's $8 million guaranteed. You could cut him if you really, really wanted to. But as a GM, it's a bad look to the owner and to everyone to go, that guy I just extended in July, he's gone by Christmas. It's not going to go well on your resume. Before we get on out of here, I just want to give some shout-outs to 5 viewers that shared our content over on Twitter. Maria, Supa, Josh, Night Fright, and Billy. Thank you guys so much for growing the channel by sharing it over on Twitter. Share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, but I really appreciate those of you that go the extra mile to support this channel. It's been awesome to see the growth we've undergone over the last couple of years. So if you enjoy what we do, feel free to share this video with a friend or a family member that likes the Browns, and I'm guessing they'll enjoy the channel as well.